Welcome to St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department, Employee Training and Development. An extra worksheet is not needed. All attendance tracking is done online through IWS. You will need to pass the quiz in order to receive credit. And upon completion, you will be paid for 30 minutes of training pay. There is no need to print or email the certificates as we pull the information directly from IWS. Again, please do not complete an extra worksheet for this training. All payroll is processed through the completion reports from IWS. The purpose of this training is to educate our staff on the overall process of the Florida Education Finance Program, otherwise known as FEFP. The St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department heavily relies on the accuracy in reporting from our bus drivers as we count our student ridership. It is essential in order to obtain the necessary funding from government agencies to cover the cost associated with transporting students to and from school. Each and every student that boards our buses needs to be accounted for. So what is FEFP? FEFP is how school districts receive funds from the federal government. All school funding, including transportation, is a blend of federal, state, and local dollars. The St. Lucie Public Schools Transportation Department is required to conduct an FEFP survey count 4 times a year. 2 are done during the regular school year, which is February and October, and the other 2 over the summer, which is June and July. The purpose of these survey counts are to identify which students are actively riding on our buses in order to be paid for the cost associated with transporting students to and from school. Once the FEFP count is over, the Florida Department of Education comes into our office and performs an audit of our reports. Each bubble sheet is carefully reviewed in comparison with school attendance records. They look to make sure the school records match our records. And if they find any inconsistencies, such as students marked as riding when they didn't ride during the count week, they'll perform a further investigation to determine which report is accurate. If we are found to be inaccurate, we must pay back the money that has been paid to us, along with any penalties that are assessed for falsifying information. Remember, the student only has to ride 1 day during the count week in order for us to receive funding. Our count week is October 6th through October 10th. Included in the FEFP folder, which will look new this year, is the bubble sheets, your write-in sheet, a midday sheet if you have one, and the instructions. The reports are due Friday, October 10th, after your AM run. Again, October 6th through October 10th is our count week, and your reports are due Friday, October 10th, after your AM run. Here is some important information to keep in mind when you're completing your FEFP reports. You can use pen or pencil to complete the report. If your sheets get damaged, contact Ms. Cruz for a reprint. Contact information will be available at the end of this training. Please be thorough when you're completing your reports. We need to make sure we are getting the correct count. So that means you have to pay attention to your riders, both in the AM and the PM. Don't just guess. You do get paid extra to complete your FEFP reports. So again, please be thorough and please take your time. Don't forget to stock up on student cards. These help take the guess out of the game. If you don't know your students, you can hand these to them as they board the bus and then collect them as they deboard. Area managers will have stacks of these available. You're only going to receive copies of your PM bubble sheets unless your route is different in the AM and the PM. And the tiers will be stapled in effort to increase efficiency. Now let's take a look at a bubble sheet together. The first thing you should do when you receive your file is to print and sign your name on every sheet in the folder. You'll notice the dates are pre-populated for you. On the top left-hand corner, you'll see the route identifying information. Directly below that is a list of your riders with their student names and 562 numbers. They'll be listed in order by the bus stop. For example, Lenny's stop is at Starfish and Gemini. Now look at the center section with the bubbles. Do not bubble these in. You'll only bubble under the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. For the next 5 days, you are to monitor and log your students' boarding. Clearly, bubble in the circle for the first day the student rode the bus. Again, you only need to bubble in 1 day. This is a time saver for you. If they rode multiple days of the week, you still only need to fill in the first day the student rode the bus. If they did not ride on Monday, but rode on Tuesday, leave Monday blank and bubble in Tuesday. If the student did not ride any of the 5 days during the count week, leave all the bubbles blank. Never mark a student riding if they did not board your bus during the count week. When you have completed your bubble sheets, you will need to double check that all pages are signed in the top right side. You'll notice the dates are pre-populated for you, but you still must print and sign your name to every sheet in the folder. Any forms not signed will be returned and can jeopardize us receiving funds, as the state considered unsigned reports as incomplete reports. Please be sure to print and sign every sheet in your folder. You'll notice several barcodes on the bubble sheets. We use scanners to capture all the riders. Please be very careful not to write over any barcodes. If the barcode is compromised, it will not scan, resulting in a student not being added to the account. If you make an error on your bubble sheet or it gets damaged somehow, we can easily print a new sheet for you. You can see your area manager or contact Ms. Cruz. Let's talk a little bit about what a write-in is. Students are always coming and going into the school district, and routes consistently change. Now, although we do our best to make sure the routes are as up to date as possible, it's almost impossible to keep them current with the ever-changing influx we have in students. Therefore, there may come a time that a student rides your bus and he or she is not listed on your bubble sheet. When this happens, you'll need to manually document their information on a write-in sheet provided to you in your FEFP folder. Every folder has a write-in sheet. From there, the student will be added to the route in Bus Planner as long as the student is eligible for busing. And the next time your route is printed, it would reflect the new student. Keep in mind that just because a student boards your bus does not mean they should be. There can be multiple reasons why a student has been deemed ineligible for school transportation. If it is determined that the student you have listed on a write-in sheet is not eligible for transportation, they will not be added to the route, and you should not be transporting them. Now let's look at a write-in sheet. Again, if a student rides your bus and is not listed on the bubble sheet, you'll need to properly complete the write-in sheet. Take a quick look. Notice the column titles: date rode, school, grade, first name, last name, and the 562 number, along with the bus stop. Keep in mind, it's important to write clear, as we have to take the information from the write-in sheet and manually add it to the final report. If we're unable to read the info, we may lose funding for those students. Underneath the 562 column, please leave it blank if you do not know the 562 number. Again, if you're unaware of the 562 number, don't write any other information such as birthdays, phone numbers, or addresses, as we don't look it up by that. Leave it blank, and we'll be able to find the 562 number by research in Skyward. Again, if you're unaware of the 562 number, please leave it blank, but make sure you fill in the rest of those lines. Don't forget to include your route number and your area manager in the yellow boxes. The incomplete forms will be returned to drivers for proper completion. Again, the date will be already pre-populated for you. You'll need to put the route number and your area manager, and of course, print and sign in the other corner. Be sure to print and sign your bubble sheets. Again, the date will be pre-populated for you, but it's important that you print and sign every page in your FEFP folder. You'll only have a midday sheet if you run a midday. The midday sheets look exactly like a bubble sheet, except they'll be printed on a different color. You'll follow the same instructions when completing your midday bubble sheet as you would your regular bubble sheet. Now we're going to go over some common questions and answers. What if I have a student that always rides the bus, but just happens to not ride the week of the count? Can I just mark him as road? Absolutely not. This is considered falsifying information and can cost us a penalty. This is why there is multiple counts throughout the year. We'll get them on the next count. What if I turn in my report and a student shows up to ride that hasn't rode all week? How do I mark her? That's easy. Grab a blank write-in sheet, fill it out, and turn it into your area manager. We'll get the student added to the report. There's always extra write-in sheets in the driver's lounge. However, every folder will have a blank write-in sheet included. Do I have to wait until Friday to turn in my report if I'm finished with it sooner? No. If you can complete your report before Friday, please turn it into your area manager as soon as you complete it. It helps us get a head start on the counting process. My bubble sheet got damaged. Who can help me? Your area manager should always be your first point of contact. However, Ms. Cruz can assist you with anything related to FEFP. When in doubt, put them on your write-in sheet. We exclude any duplicates on the final report. So if you're concerned if a different driver may have already listed them on their write-in sheet, it's okay. Just put them on your write-in sheet and we'll exclude any duplicates on the final report. Let's have a quick review. The purpose of these counts are to identify which students are actively riding on our school buses in order to be paid for the cost associated with transporting students to and from school. Remember, the student only has to ride one day during the count week in order for us to receive the funding. So that means you only have to bubble in the first day the student rode. No need to bubble in every day, only the first day the student rode the bus. So our students ride the bus to and from school. Based on those reports, the state of Florida sends money to St. Lucie Public Schools, and then it gets filtered down to the transportation department. Once the FEFP count is over, the Florida Department of Education will come to our office and perform an audit of our reports. Again, each bubble sheet is carefully reviewed in comparison with school attendance records for accuracy. If they find inaccurate information, such as the students marked riding when they did not ride during the count week, we must pay back the money that has been paid to us, along with any penalties that are assessed for falsifying information. If you have any questions, or if you need further training on the FEFP reporting process, please see Ms. Cruz in the South Compound, or you can contact me at the information below. Let's recap. Our count week is Monday, October 6th through Friday, October 10th. You only need to fill in one bubble. Pen or pencil is okay to complete the reports. Please do not make any markings on any of the barcodes. Make sure you are completing the report in full with all of the required information. Fill in the bubble for the first day only the student rode the bus during the count week. If the student did not ride during the count week, do not fill in any bubbles. Leave it blank. Pay attention to all of your riders in the AM and the PM. Don't just guess. If a student rides your bus and is not on the bubble sheet, you'll need to list them on the write-in sheet. Please do not list birthdays, phone numbers, or addresses on the write-in sheet. If you do not know the student ID, please leave that column blank. If you have a student that rides after you turn in your report, just fill out a write-in sheet. We'll get them added to the report. Write clear and be sure you are signing and dating all of your forms, including the write-in sheet. And your reports are due to your area manager no later than Friday, October 10th, after your AM run. You should never go out on your PM run with your FEFP report on Friday. Again, turn in your FEFP report to your area manager on Friday after your AM run. All staff will be held accountable to meet all the expectations set forth by the transportation management team. Failure to meet these expectations may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. If you have any questions about this training or any other training, please speak with your immediate manager. Thank you. Please proceed to the quiz. You will need to pass the following quiz in order to receive credit for this training.